Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Before starting, subscribe and like the videos, it really helps a lot. The content from this video are taken from the web novel and manga series of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Now please enjoy the video. Volume 8 Chapter 3 Daughters of the Beast Race Kidnapping and Confinement Incident. First half Part 1 Rinia de Dorudia. The Dorudia are one of the two Dorudia clans that serve as the protectors of the Great Forest. She's the granddaughter of that clan chief, Gustav, and the daughter of that clan's warrior chief, Guys, who is the next clan chief. Persena Dorudia. The Dorudia is the other Dorudia clan that serve as the protectors of the Great Forest. She's the granddaughter of that clan chief, Budding, and the daughter of that clan's warrior chief, Telteria, who is also the next clan chief. Among the beast race, the Dorudia clan are a special existence. They have roots that go back roughly 5,500 years. They span back to the time of the first great human-demon war. An all-out war between the human race and the demon race. The Great Human-Demon War. The winner of that war was the human race. The humans treated the demons like slaves, and grew arrogant. One by one, they declared wars with the other races. The beast race that lived in the Great Forest with plentiful wood resources was no exception. An approaching army. The one who rose up against this threat was the top of the beast race in those days, Beast God Geiger. Beast God Geiger gathered a beast race army to face the cowardly humans, and naturally fought on the front lines himself. Exhibiting his might, and occasionally his wit, occasionally saving other beast people, in the end he managed to protect the Great Forest. Beast God was a man who reigned over all of the beast races. It was the name of a hero. That Beast God Geiger was a member of the Dorudia clan. As a result, the Dorudia clan became the top clan of the beast people that lived in the Great Forest. It might not sound like that big of a deal. However, currently the beast race doesn't exist only in the Great Forest, and the beast race diaspora can be seen even on the central continent and the Begarito continent. The total population isn't as great as the human race. However, it is definitely not a number that can be ignored. Specifically, they possess enough power to wage a war with the Holy Kingdom of Milis. They're a race with that much military might. And Rinia and Persena are the grandchildren of the clan chiefs. They're the direct descendants of the beast god. They carry a special significance. They're people who might become clan chiefs, or the wives of clan chiefs in the future. To use the human race as a reference, they're something like people who have the right to inherit the crown, princesses, you could say. On top of that, they could be said to be on the level of princesses from the human race's greatest country, the Kingdom of Asura. As a result, when they first enrolled in the school, they were seen as extremely important personages. Why were such important girls separated from their homelands and sent to a far-off land to study? That's because of a screw-up caused by the previous generation's prince and princess. Like the Prince Guys and Princess Ghislaine of the previous generation, these two girls were stupid. As a result, lamenting about this, the clan chief Gustav sent them to study in a far-off land with the mission of acquiring knowledge. In a place where they couldn't use their political power, they might acquire some good judgment of their own, he thought. However, he made one miscalculation. He had sent them to the magic university thinking they won't be treated as the beast race clan chief's granddaughters. Because they were of the beast race, the two of them even thought they might be persecuted instead. What awaited the two, despite expectations, were teachers who treated them with great caution and students who sucked up to them. Right. In other words, it was the result of the Dorudia clan's political power. The two of them got carried away. Though they were a little afraid when they first enrolled, because of the voice magic passed down in the Dorudia clan, their superior agility, their physical strength, and the characteristics special to their race, they were strong. Furthermore, when the magic they learned in class was added to this, they could even beat down upperclassmen without much trouble, and when they noticed this, their attitudes gradually grew worse and worse. Boycotting things, shakedowns, extortion, loitering, they'd basically do everything that a bad student would, and became gang bosses in their first year. However, that steady advance suddenly came to a stop. When they became second years, the Asura princess came along. Ariel Amoy Asura. She was a person who until just recently was wrapped up in a power struggle amongst political factions. Along with her came two guards, and as if they owned the place, intruded on Rinia and Persena's territory. And unbearably, the students and teachers who had been wagging their tails at Rinoa and Persena now wagged their tails at Ariel and her lot. Even so, they endured it for half a year. While thinking that they couldn't accept it, absolutely couldn't accept it, they still endured it. However, they immediately reached their limits. Because Ariel was outstanding, she became the student council president as a first year. When Ariel ascended to student council president, it was almost saying to them that Ariel was admired as an honors student, while they were labeled as delinquents. Because the label of a delinquent was due to their own actions, their resentment towards Ariel was unjustified. Rinoa and Persena began making trouble for the Asura princess and her entourage. They began straight-out harassment like spitting on the ground where she was about to walk, or going out of their way to bump shoulders, or splashing water, and escalated even to stealing her underwear and leaving them in front of the boys' dorms. In the end they gathered the other delinquents and led an attack on her. And then they were beaten up by Fitts senpai. Almost 20 attackers were crushed by Fitts senpai alone. The two of them were also beaten mercilessly by Fitts senpai. When the incident came to light, the teachers even had a conference. 20 or so attackers dropped out of school. However, Rinoa and Persena didn't. It was judged that expelling the two ladies of the Dorudia clan would be bad. The number of delinquents dropped, and Rinoa and Persena's influence crashed. The Asura princess and her entourage were seen as heroes by the other students. Incidentally, the Asura princess was also going to be a special student, but in accordance with her wishes, she was enrolled as a normal student and treated the same as the others. Of course this wasn't amusing to Rinoa and Persena. Though they found it unamusing, the difference in their power was clear, and they had already run out of underlings to use. At best, because the special students Cliff and Zanoba who entered last year were rampaging about, they used it as a pretext to pick a fight and defeated them. They used Zanoba to gather information on the princess, but they didn't plan on revenge. Recently, though they still showed some bad behavior, they were properly attending classes. You could say that they were rehabilitating. To a new student like me, it was just a story about Fitts senpai's greatness. Case closed. At least it should have been. Part 2 Zanoba's perspective. I am Zanoba Shiron. Right. The beginning of this incident was on a certain night. Shushu was single-mindedly teaching Julie earth magic. Shushu had said, "This is an experiment," and started some strange training. At first he had made her practice chanted magic only once, but after that he had her do nothing but create earth bullets voicelessly. At first I had thought that there was no way she'd be able to use such a spell without chanting. However, it only took 1 month. Right. In just 1 month Julie succeeded in using the earth bullet spell. It was voiceless. It was something to be amazed about. According to Shushu, Julie was still far off from our desired level. Certainly, though Julie had tried to use Earth Bullet many times, she only succeeded once. She also ran out of mana quickly. On some days she wouldn't succeed even after practicing the whole day. However, compared to I who had no talent, I expect that it would be best if I increase my abilities in another area. Nevertheless, a young child like this could use chantless magic. Shushu had said, I was just following Fitts senpai's advice and didn't say anything else. But the one who taught Julie was Shushu. As expected of Shushu, I had not made a mistake in becoming Shushu's disciple. At the same time as doing this, Shushu also teaches Julie the human language. Surprisingly, she can understand it as long as it's just some basic words. Thinking about it, since she had spent a number of years in the central continent with her parents, this much is natural. It might be because of this that teaching her is really simple, it seems. That merchant lied. No, since he had no reason to lie, it might be that Julie simply hadn't spoken it in their presence. I think that Julie is a great purchase as well. Julie is a really sharp child. If I tell her to bring me this, she'll bring it to me. If I tell her to bring that, she'll bring it. She's good at guessing what I mean. She's almost like Ginger. Normally, so that they won't run away, a slave will be branded using a special magic seal. However, Shushu doesn't like those sorts of things. When we bought Julie, we didn't do that either. In the end he treated her as a disciple rather than a slave. Because of that, I decided to treat Julie as a young disciple. Thinking of her as a younger disciple rather than a slave, she mysteriously became more adorable. Now then, that incident happened after class on a certain day. When Shushu finishes his lessons with Julie, I tell Julie about the magnificence of dolls. It's an important time. One can't achieve great things without passion. Julie, who has become the core of Shushu's grand plan, must come to understand the magnificence of dolls. Right. On that day. Today, using the Rudeus doll as an example, I was going to talk about the greatness of Shushu's doll creating. Thinking that, I took out the doll from the locked box. While Shushu was preparing to return to his room, he suddenly said something. Speaking of which, what happened to the one of Roxy? Because it was this topic, I ran a cold sweat. What I had thought he wouldn't ask, definitely wouldn't ask up until now, he asked. I was unconsciously going to tell him that I had left it in the Shiron Kingdom. However, I bit my lip and resisted. I won't lie. To Shushu, I'll definitely never lie. The truth is, I have it here, but I can't speak smoothly. My hands are shaking. If Shushu knows about this, he might excommunicate me. Thinking this, my body feels like lead and I become unable to move. It's here. Since it's been a long time, I want to see it. Could you please bring it out? Shushu's excited voice. My chest hurts. After much effort, I finally bring out a single locked box from under the bed. My shaking hands undo the lock, and I produce the contents. The moment he saw this, Shushu's gaze stopped moving. Oi, what is this? Shushu's voice is trembling. His flat, monotone voice is trembling. I wanted to cry. It wasn't anything that scary. Shushu's #1 masterpiece. The 1/10 Roxy figurine was cruelly broken into pieces, after all. The head was removed, the parts for dressing her were broken, the arms were broken from the elbow, and the legs were twisted in unnatural directions. It was a miserable corpse. Only the cane was strong, so it wasn't broken. What's the meaning of this, Zanoba? Oi, just what the hell happened, ha? Shushu was mad. Shushu, who normally would speak uninterestedly in honorifics. His speech was strange and off-tone. Haven't I told you how much I respect, and am grateful to her? Didn't you know just how much of my thoughts for Sensei were put into this figure? I clearly understood that Shushu was truly mad. Shushu, who abased himself and praised Rinoa in persona, who was just downhearted after being attacked by Cliff, who just made a troubled face when he was made fun of by Luke, was truly mad. He let off killing intent. Julie had become scared, and was now hiding behind me. I'm the one who wants to hide. Could it be that you're ridiculing Roxy? Hey. Could it be that you're an enemy? That's not the case. I shook my head in a panic. I always hear Shushu talk about Roxy. Shushu would always talk about how she was a wonderful person, or how she was someone who should be respected. It wasn't just admiration, you could feel some kind of fanaticism from it. Right. It's the same type of feeling that you'd get from the Order of the Temple in Milis. Honestly speaking, I don't particularly care about Roxy. However, if I say that plainly right now, Shushu will probably use his magic. If Shushu uses his magic in seriousness, I won't even leave behind ashes. Though I am said to be a Miko with superhuman strength, this body of mine isn't that strong against magic. You're mistaken. This is something that I bet in a duel against Rinoa in persona. It's something that is extremely important to me. When I lost the duel, it was cruelly destroyed and stepped on, but I'd never think of ridiculing Roxy Dono. Duel. I continued my explanation. I spoke single-mindedly about how in my first year, I was challenged by Rinoa in persona to a duel. About how at the time we wagered what was important to us. About how I brought the 1/10 Roxy doll. As a Miko, I've never lost in the Shiron Kingdom. That's why I had no doubts about my victory. Even if they used advanced level magic, I was resolved to bear with it and swing my fists. However, they suddenly used a strange technique. Because of that, my free will was snatched away. After that, they harassed and made fun of me. Losing without being able to do anything, I let go of the doll in tears. It couldn't be helped. I had lost after all. It couldn't be helped that that wonderful doll was taken from me. It was something that anyone would want. Thinking this, I resigned myself. However, those 2B*Gs who don't know the value of things, they'd say things like, "What is this?" and "It's gross NYA," and drop the doll, kicked and trampled it, and broke it into pieces. Shushu's killing intent lessened. I see, you've suffered as well. He pats me on the shoulder. He understood. Thinking this, I raise my voice and let out a miserable, he. If something like that happened, you should have told me from the start. Had I known, I wouldn't have smiled at them so frivolously. Those kind words are said with a colorless face. His tone is different from usual. Somehow Shushu has gone past anger. Shushu doesn't talk about dolls often. Lately I had been thinking that perhaps he didn't love dolls that much. However, I was wrong. The passion that Shushu hides deep down burns hotter than anyone's. Let's teach those girls a lesson. Tonight, those two girls are going to die. I had confidence in this. I started to tremble in fear. However, after a few seconds, that fearful trembling stopped and changed into trembles of joy. I realized that I had gained a powerful ally and would be able to take revenge for the doll. Yes, Shushu. That's it guys, thank you for watching, subscribe if you want more and don't forget to like the videos.